Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. And welcome to Saturday morning. I hope your week's been great. Hope you've been able to reach all your goals for this week, and perhaps you still need another day or two to get them all in the bag. Our teacher for this week is Anita Murjani, and I am ready with a beautiful message from her to share with you. Beatrix, good morning. Happy Saturday morning to you. Danae, good morning. Sunmary, good morning. Stefan, good morning. Happy Saturday to every one of you. Awesome having you here. Let's get into it. Having the ability to be the observer is a kind of superpower. When you feel something like, we'll use an example, when you feel something like anger wake up within you, are you already acting from anger, or do you observe how anger wakes up in your body? And do you become aware of how it wants you to act? Marcia, good morning. Happy Saturday morning to you. Great to see you here live with us. Honey, good morning. Hello. Awesome having you live with us today. Happy Saturday. When you're looking at the experience of anger as an observer, then you have choice. You can choose to take the action that anger suggests to you, or you can decide that there might be a more helpful response. Linda, good morning. Happy Saturday morning. Anita Murjani's thoughts for us today speaks of our relationship to ego, and anger is just one example of how we can experience ego. Anita says, when we deny ego, it will pop up unannounced and uncontrolled in all sorts of situations. But if we embrace the ego as part of the reason we came into this life, then it doesn't need to keep surprising us by exploding at the most inopportune moments. She says, if you deny your ego, it will push back against you harder. The more you reject something, the more it fights back for its own survival. But when you can completely love your ego unconditionally and accept it as part of how you express in this human body, you will no longer have a problem with it. She says, the more I love myself and embrace my ego, realizing it's a necessary part of being in the physical world, the easier it becomes for me to see myself beyond my ego and to become aware of my infinite self that includes my ego, yet transcends my ego at the same time. Anthony, good morning, dude. Awesome seeing you. Last thought from Anita says, we choose to come here so that we can experience a reality of separation. And an ego is absolutely necessary to feel this reality and to experience these feelings. Without an ego, we would be back in a state of non-duality, the state of oneness of pure consciousness. As a pure soul, Anita suggests, we don't have an ego. Then, when we are born, ego is something we get to experience as part of having this body, almost like one of the senses that this body comes with. And it reminds me of how Eckhart Tolle says that when you're able to observe the ego's reaction, then you're not being controlled by it, but beginning to go beyond ego. Today's meditation is not specifically about ego, but a really simple exercise in expanding our ability to be the observer. The more we practice taking a step back and observing our body's physical responses, the better we also become at being the observer of our inner senses, our thoughts, our feelings, and yes, our ego. Hey Maggie, good morning. Happy Saturday. Hello Michelle, good morning. Don't go to war with ego. It will always fight back, and then you will never have peace. when being the observer of your emotions becomes your default way of being, then ego never has control, and then actions come from your soul. Our meditation today is called Come to Your Senses, and it really is just the exercise of becoming the observer of your body's physical responses. If you're ready, you can close your eyes and let's float away together, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. With every breath out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. Our journey today is the journey of what this body is experiencing. So let's check in with this body right now. While you continue your full body breathing, with your next exhale, as your body softens, bring your attention to the space between your eyes, your forehead. Do you sometimes find yourself carrying a frown there? And when you do you remind yourself to soften? With your next exhale, bring your attention to the space in and around your mouth. Do you perhaps sometimes find yourself grinding your teeth? Or your tongue being pressed hard against the roof of your mouth? Your jaw muscles clenched tightly? do you then take a moment to remind yourself to breathe and soften. With your next exhale, bring your attention to your neck and shoulders. It is so common to find one's shoulders pulled up tightly. Is that something you find happening to you? Shoulders raised up, almost level with your ears, neck muscles bunched tightly. And in those moments, do you remind yourself to start soften, take a few big breaths, roll out your shoulder muscles, and bring softness back to this body? With your next exhale, bring your attention to your stomach area. This is where attention hides most effectively for years and years. Right now, can you remind your abs to remain soft? Not necessary to hold on to and carry tension for such a long time. With your next exhale, bring your attention to your butt cheeks. Check in just to make sure you're not clenching. Is everything nice and relaxed? And then lastly, your legs and your arms, and very specifically your hands. Hands being bunched into tight fists can also slip under our radar. Right now, make sure your hands are loosely halfway open, lying in your lap. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, further helping our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles forward and to the left, and forward and to the right, loosening up your neck muscles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. Lean your upper body over to the left. And also lean your upper body over to the right. Leaning into your back muscles. Making sure that they loosen up. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at least as much as we can get ourselves there, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is always a good place to stop. But if you are here for the whole journey, then with every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel how softness slips in and settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening, and feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in, and hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath. But hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. with your next big breath as you dive deep into you. Our journey today is about this body and its experiences. Take a moment to meet this body. Take a moment to say hello to this body. Perhaps even wrap your arms around this body and say, "Hello, body. It really is good to have you." Take your next big breath. Our journey of the senses starts at the top and works its way through our bodies. Our first stop is your eyes. What you can see, or what you would have been able to see if you were to open your eyes. For this exercise, we keep our eyes closed and use our mind to see what our eyes would have seen. So with your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, what would be the most obvious thing that you would see if you were to open your eyes? And then as you take a deep breath and dive deep inside, study this obvious thing from all of its angles, see all of its color, and find all of its texture. Take your next big breath. Then we'll shift gears. We're still sticking to what you can see, but this time, as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, what would be the least obvious thing that you would see if you were to open your eyes? Bring this less obvious object to your attention, study all of its details, see all of its color, find all of its texture. Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you are able to be the observer right now, simply observing the experience that your eyes give you. When we are able to be the observer without reacting, then we gift ourselves free choice. In the space of not reacting, we have time to choose what action would be appropriate. And for now, no action at all. Let's take a step down from our eyes to our ears. And as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, pay attention to the most obvious sound that you can hear. Listen deep into this obvious sound. Find all the different layers of vibration in this obvious sound. Take your next big breath. And then we'll change gears. We're still sticking with what you can hear, but this time, bring your attention to the faintest sound that you can find. Something that's barely a whisper or a chirping in the distance. And see how much of that tiny sound you can hear. Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you are able to be the witness to what your body is experiencing right now. Every time we are able to witness without reacting, we gift ourselves space. The space between stimulus and response, as Viktor Frankl called it. In this space, he says, lies our freedom, lies our choice. We'll take another step down to your nose and what you can smell. And for the next 2 stops, smell and taste. Change your breathing to whatever it needs to be for you to smell and taste. For now, as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, pay attention to what you can smell. Is there any obvious smell that you are able to get right now? Take your next big breath. Then we'll change gears, staying with smell. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, is there any other smell at all that you can find right now? Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you're able to observe your body's experience right now. Every time that you're able to observe without reacting, you're giving yourself time to access wisdom, to make a decision about whether action should be taken or not. And smell is a great one to practice this with. For most people, it's almost impossible to experience an offensive smell and not have a big reaction. Can you smell that? And just observe how you want to react. And wait. Wait to choose whether something should be done about this smell or not. And even if you do take action to remove the offensive origin of the smell, could you create a bit more space between stimulus and response? We take another step down to your mouth, your taste buds. As you take a deep breath in, dive deep inside. See if you're able to find any obvious taste right now. Take your next big breath. And then we'll change gears. And as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, is it possible for you to find any other taste? Anything besides the first obvious one? Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you're able to just be the witness right now. And right now, witnessing the response from your body, there is no action to take. It is often true that with whatever triggers us, that there's no action to take. But if there is, and if we do need to act, it should be from wisdom. And for that, we might need a few more breaths. We have one more stop, the surface of your skin. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, scan the surface of your skin and find where is the most obvious sensation. And as you place your focus there, see if you can find different sensations and different pressures in this obvious spot. Take your next big breath. We change gears one more time. Scan the surface of your skin and find where is the least obvious sensation. Can you find a spot where you can only just feel fabric touch skin? Or perhaps you can feel the air touch your forehead or your cheek. Take your next big breath. We'll take just one more big breath together to slip out of the breath holding space and into the next. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. On the topic of becoming the observer of our body's experiences, the witness to ourself, Anita Moorjani reminds us that this is a very good way to deal with our ego. That's just one of the many things that we can witness when we watch ourselves. And I'll read to you again a few of her thoughts of how we might deal with our ego, how we might change that relationship. She says, when we deny the ego, it will pop up unannounced and uncontrolled in all sorts of situations. But if we embrace the ego as part of the reason we came into this life, then it doesn't need to keep surprising us by exploding at the most inopportune moments. She says, if you deny your ego, it will push back against you harder. Because the more you reject something, the more it has to fight back for its own survival. But when you can completely love your ego unconditionally and accept it as part of how you express in this human body, then you will no longer have a problem with it. One more thought says, the more I love myself and embrace my ego, realizing it's a necessary part of being in the physical world, the easier it becomes for me to see myself beyond my ego and to become aware of my infinite self. that includes my ego yet transcends my ego at the same time. In the moment that we take that step back and observe ourselves and see the thinking, feeling patterns and programs happening within us, let's just call it ego for this exercise. In the moment I can take a step back and see what my ego is doing. In that moment, I'm not being my ego. Which is why having this relationship of open arms, acceptance for everything that happens within us, also gets us beyond what happens within us. Because if I can observe my ego and choose a different action, then I am beyond my ego. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to become the witness to myself. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning that as I observe my human responding or reacting, it becomes clearer and clearer that almost nothing needs an instant reaction. Almost nothing. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning to understand that embracing non-reaction, non-reactivity is not about never taking action, but about being determined to never take action from a place of fear, from a place of reactivity, from a place of ego. Take a deep breath in. In this space, thank you for learning that so many of the things I would have reacted to actually needs no response at all. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Let our actions become a little bit less, not so many. We could do with a little bit less action, but always and only from wisdom. Could we take a little bit less action, but only act from wisdom? Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Colette. Good morning. It's great seeing you. Nella, good morning. Awesome seeing you. Hello. Mari, a very good morning. Happy weekend. Good to see you here. Thank you, Danae. It was great having you live with us. Thank you, Sunmarie. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Maggie. I'm not sure who else I'm missing. Thank you, Beatrix. Have a great weekend. I hope you have fun. If you feel like a quiet meditation, we'll be here for that tomorrow. Lots of love to you all. Ciao, ciao.